brace yourself. This is going to be a bumpy week, right? And why is that? Because we are coming to the end of the 90-day tariffs. So there's going to be a lot of uncertainty, but this could also create a lot of opportunities for us as well. And we'll look at the charts later on. What I want to show you first of all is this article from Reuters. Okay, and you can see here markets 90-day tariff pause roller coaster nears an uncertain end, right? And we know the man responsible for all of this. It's this megalomaniac, Donald Trump. And I love the fact that he is so old school. He basically has a board of reciprocal tariffs. Who needs PowerPoint, right? So a few important things to point out, guys. So first of all, pause on Trump's Liberation Day tariffs expires on July 9th. So this is the day we need to be very aware of, right? The markets could go a little crazy. Now, in this article, okay, it says here, investors, however, have now become somewhat inured to this sort of policy making on the fly. So they're saying the markets have become quite muted to all of Trump's, theatricals. And as a result, there is little evidence at this point that many are preparing for fireworks on July 9th. Okay, so this article suggests we're not, going to see fireworks at the end of these tariffs. But again, nobody has a crystal ball. Nobody can tell the future. Who knows how the markets are going to absorb, the end of these tariffs? And there's a couple of other things I wanted to point out in this article as well. So, firstly, just how powerful Trump is, right? This is the MSCI World Stocks, right? And this was the announcement of the tariffs, right? Price shot down. We all thought it was the end of the stock market. I exaggerate. And then we had 90-day pause. And then price has just gone crazy. Right, some indices have broken record highs. World stocks at record highs. Okay, so we're at record highs, but we're coming to the end of these tariffs, right? What is going to happen? And we will look at exactly that on the charts later on, guys. Trump has also been responsible for the dollar decline. Again, we'll look at this on the charts, but, the dollar has been dropping like a stone, okay? So we'll see if that brings us any potential trade opportunities this week as well. And this is just... This chart here is just showing you, the dollar against other currencies, right? It is weaker than a wet paper bag. And there's one more really interesting point here that I wanted to point out. And this is all that glitters, right? Isn't gold. Okay, it's referring to gold. And gold is a safe haven commodity, right? And as we know, gold has been flying, right? It's, at crazy all-time highs, but the correlation between gold and the indices, someone's got it wrong. And this is what this refers to, gold and stocks. What if both can't be right? So if the indices are still flying up, and we're hitting record highs, gold should be weak, right? Because it's a safe haven. And the opposite is true. When the indices are dropping like stones, gold should become strong. But we're in the very unusual position right now where indices are flying, right? Record highs, and gold is flying. So which one is wrong? Okay, now this is what this article is referring to. And, let's take a look at the charts and try and make sense of all of this, guys. And let's look at the opportunities that potentially the end of tariffs could present to us in the markets. All right, so let's take a look at the charts. Let's get into it. So let's start with the indices and look at this relationship between indices and gold. But stay tuned, guys, because I'm also going to give you all of my trade ideas as well for this week. So stay tuned for that. Indices are flying, right? You don't need me to tell you that. This is the weekly chart on the NASDAQ. Massive sell-off, right, on Trump's tariffs. 90-day pause, bang, right? And look at this, guys. We have broken all-time highs under this uncertainty of tariffs. right? The indices have been flying. And you can see we had a big bullish weekly candle break these highs, right? So technically, if anything, you would say buy the indices. Now, obviously, we're not going to do anything until the markets have digested July 9th, okay, that we just spoke about from the Reuters article. But the indices are flying, and that looks like a buy trade. Now, we were comparing the indices with gold. So typically, if the indices are doing this, gold is doing this. Okay, now let's look at gold because it's not doing that. Okay, weekly chart, gold is doing this, right? That's in an uptrend. So one of these have to give. Okay, will it be the indices start plummeting off the back of the pause and what happens with the tariffs and gold keeps pushing on, or will the indices keep pushing on the back of the tariff pause and gold comes down? One of them has to give. Okay, now looking at gold, this is less bullish. They're both in uptrends, right? The indices, you look at S&P, NASDAQ, doesn't matter. They're all bullish, right? But this you can see here, it's starting to slow down. We're starting to hit this weekly resistance level. And I'm looking at the weekly chart, guys, firstly to give you the bigger picture, but also these are swing trade ideas that I'm going to give you. And ever since we've hit this resistance level, bearish candle, big bearish candle, right? And this is not exactly bullish. This would suggest we still have a bit of room to the downside, okay? And if we look at the daily on gold, we have broken daily structure, right? We was in this uptrend. And this is where we're at now. We broke these lows. We're getting lower lows. So we're in a downtrend. This is the last high. Is this the new lower highs? Right? We shall see. But this is looking like a pretty good sell trade to me. So maybe, well, not maybe, but on the back of technicals, it's looking like gold will potentially, be a sell trade. But again, going to wait for July 9th. So yeah, really interesting one, guys. Yeah, we'll see how that dynamic plays out. We'll also take a quick look at the US dollar now as well, because, we know the US dollar has been weak, right? We know that, okay? This is New Zealand dollar, US dollar. You can look at any US dollar pair, right? We're in an uptrend, but last week, the US dollar got some strength, right? So we had some good NFPs, had some good other data, right? And now we're seeing this bearish wick. Does that mean we're going to potentially see a bit of US dollar strength this week before we go higher? And it's the same for any peg, any US dollar major. Let's have a look at Euro US dollar, right? We know, just looking at this, guys, right? We know we're flying and we know the Euro's strong. In fact, the Euro is the catalyst for a lot of my trade ideas for this week. But look, even here, we're starting to see a bit of top wicks forming, right? Let's have a look at US dollar Swiss franc. We know that's been flying, okay? But look at this, we're starting to see some bottom wicks. Are we going to start seeing some US dollar strength? Now, we shall see. But what this means, though, is I don't want to trade the US dollar because like US dollar Swiss franc, right, we're in a downtrend, okay, which is, which is US dollar weakness, Swiss franc strength. But we're starting to see bullish wicks, right? Is it time for a bit of a retrace before we come lower? All right, we shall see. So no opportunities for me with any US dollar pair this week. But I do have some trade ideas, so let's get into them. Before I do, guys, if I could please ask you to subscribe to the channel, smash the notification button, and please smash that like button. It really helps support the vid, so thank you very much. Also, guys, if you haven't already, please come join our trading community. We have a free Discord channel. You can share trade ideas, knowledge, have a chit chat. So please come join our free Discord channel. And right now we'll give you 50% off our trading course if you do. No brainer, come join it. If you want access to all of our premium trading education, then please check out the website www.simply-forex.com. On there, you'll see the course. You'll also see my mentorship program where I coach you one-on-one. And you'll also see the VIP Trading Academy. So go check it out, guys. All the links are below. Also, guys, please leave a comment. I would love to know what you think is going to happen when this 90-day pause finishes. So please let us know, guys, in the comments below. And if you like the trade ideas for this week, we always appreciate your comments. Right, trade ideas then. So pretty much all of my trade ideas are based on euro strength, okay? And we're going to start with euro Aussie dollar. Because if you look at the weekly chart, right, we're in this uptrend, okay? We're getting higher lows, higher highs. We're in an uptrend. And you can see we've still got some room to move into back up to these highs here. Okay, and the blue line is my target. You'll also see on the weekly chart that we just have bullish candle, bullish candle, bullish candle. Less bullish, but, you know, buyers are in control. If we drop down to the day chart now, what I would like to see, and let me draw this level in, right? You can see that there is resistance here, okay? Again, you don't need to be Warren Buffett to see that. You can see that there is resistance. What I'd like to see is a bullish candle break through this level, okay, and that is a confirmation that the trend is continuing. And I think we've got some nice buying opportunities with euro Aussie dollar, and it's exactly the same with euro New Zealand dollar. Let's start with the weekly, you know, and obviously highly correlated, guys, right? Trade the one that gives you the best setup. But on the weekly chart, in an uptrend, right, higher lows, higher highs, bullish, bullish, not so bullish, bullish. Okay, now we are starting to see, you know, potentially a bit of resistance here, and you'll see that better on the day chart. So again, guys, what I'll be looking for, right, is a break through this resistance, just like euro Aussie dollar. A nice bullish candle breaks this level, and I think we've got some good buying opportunities there as well. One trade I really like is euro Swiss franc. Okay, I must say, I like this more than I like Gal Gadot. And that is saying a lot, more than I like Mo Salah, right? So as you can see, guys, on the weekly chart, euro Swiss franc has just been ranging, okay? And we are now at the bottom of the range. We've got this nice big wick that's bounced off of support. I know it's a bearish as in red candle, but that is a very bullish candle. And I think we can take price back up to the top of this range. Yeah, I would even say that is trade of the week. Obviously, you know, it does depend what happens on July 9th, sorry, because Swiss franc is also a flight to safety. Okay, so must be aware of that. But from a technical standpoint, this looks like a really nice trade. So yeah, like I say, just euro strength. Also like euro pound. Let's take a look at this. So this still has room. I know things are a little bit overextended here. They are, but we are clearly in an uptrend, right? No two ways about it. Higher lows, higher highs. And just look at the candles. Bullish, bullish, indecision, bullish. And we've still got that room to move into before we hit these highs. So euro pound is also a buy trade as well for me this week, a swing trade. And now, guys, I want to show you a couple of yen pairs because yen is interesting as well. So, you know, the correlation I spoke about with gold and the indices. Now, gold and yen are safe haven flight to safety assets. Okay. Now, gold is not playing ball. The indices are flying. Gold is still strong, right? Now, yen is playing ball, right? The indices are strong. Therefore, yen is weak. And you can see that with many yen pairs, right? Euro yen is one of those, right? Look at that. Look at that. That is just weeks and weeks of buying. That is also euro being strong, but you will see yen weakness in many pairs, right? So if I zoom out a bit, guys, right? Now, this is overextended. I would want to see a retrace, you know, into some value in here, maybe moving average 20 catches up, right? But again, it depends on what happens on July 9th, right? You could see indices fly and yen continues to be weak. Right, and I would be aiming to, you know, take profits up to here. It's at 170 now. I just keep aiming for 171, 172, 173, 174. Now, this is a little overextended, but pound yen isn't. Okay. And just looking at the weekly chart, again, if we just track where we are, we're in an uptrend, right? We're getting higher highs. Okay. These lows kind of held, right? But we're in an uptrend, so we're getting higher highs. And I still think this has a little bit of room before it actually hits this resistance over here. And again, if we look at the candles, right? Very bullish, also very bullish. Okay, so pound yen, I like for buys back up to these highs here. I'd probably just aim back to these highs. So pound yen is also a buy trade for this week. What else am I looking at, guys? Also looking at New Zealand dollar, Swiss franc. And yeah, this is weak. New Zealand dollar is weak. Okay, just look at it compared to Aussie dollar, New Zealand dollar. It's Aussie dollar is beating up New Zealand dollar quite handsomely. But just looking at technicals, New Zealand dollar, Swiss franc is in a downtrend, lower highs, right? Lower lows, we're in a downtrend. And we're seeing bearish, bearish, bearish. And what I like is this candle. Okay, the body of this candle has broken the low of that candle. That is a continuation of trend, and I think we can make it back down to these lows. So New Zealand dollar, Swiss franc is also a sell trade. So yeah, those are actually, let's take a quick look at pound US dollar, because out of all of the US dollar pairs, right, this still looks like a buy trade, right? It is a little bit overextended, but we've got a big bullish candle and just a bit of an indecision candle. But again, like I said, guys, I'm going to leave the US dollar alone this week because we are getting a lot of contradictory information across all of the US dollar majors. So guys, if you've enjoyed my analysis, please don't forget to subscribe to the channel, smash the notification button, and please smash the like button. Please come join our free Discord and our trading community. Please check out the premium trading education on the website. And also please come join us for the live streams this week, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Have a great trading week, guys, and I'll see you next time.